What's up, World Wide Web? E-Daddy, your angry toy guy. And I'm back for a trip down memory lane tonight. One of the most iconic lines. Got cartoons, multiple movies, some pretty decent looking toys off the cartoon. So tonight, we're going to take a good look at the real Ghostbusters cartoon toys, talk about the cartoons, and we're going to talk about the movies. So that being said, here we go. Alright, so we got the Ghostbusters movies, 84, 89, 2016, possible one coming out either this year or in 2020. But in the wake of the first movie, we got the real Ghostbusters cartoon, which later on became Slimer in the real Ghostbusters. So, along with those, we ended up getting the toys. First thing we're going to take a look at, we're going to look at the main characters, because, to be honest, I ain't got any of the ghosts. They ain't what I wanted to look at. What I wanted to review tonight for this one. No, instead, we're going to take a good look at the cartoon toys. So, first off, probably the one that we all call the ringleader of the bunch, or the smart ass of the bunch, Peter Venkman. Alright, so first off, now I ain't got any of the proton packs because most of those end up getting busted. Clips busted, the proton streams busted, lost over time. But we end up getting Peter Venkman here, and he was in his traditional, brown outfit that we saw in the cartoon. They kept these very cartoon accurate as far as the first editions go. You had the proton pack. He was able to go through and put the pack on the arm, and most of these all came with a little ghost to go along with it. But overall, gave him his little walkie-talkie on his belt. He had the straps and everything set up so way to make it look like he'd be wearing the proton pack if he had it, and it would fasten in here on the back. All of them at least had, they made sure to put the Ghostbusters logo on there. Pretty good adaptation of the cartoon version of Peter Venkman. Alright, so the next one on the list is another variant of Peter, and I looked and looked and looked, and the only thing I could come up with is this had to be like the second edition version of Venkman. Gave him a yellow outfit. I'm taking it as his proton pack was probably purple, since he's got the purple straps and belt. Now, unlike, and I'm going to make sure here, unlike the first edition, instead of putting the Ghostbusters logo on the arm, they put this one up on the chest. I really couldn't find out much about this one. as much as I love Google search, I searched and searched and searched. All I could find was just a picture of it, and that was it. But like I said, I mean, they still kept him pretty accurate. I do think there's a lot they could have done different with some of these, or with these and all that. But giving him the yellow uniform with the purple straps, I was not big on this color scheme at all. I'll say I could be wrong about it being the second edition version. It's hard telling. Alright, so next up is actually the Slimed Heroes Peter. Or that's what I'm finding whenever I was trying to search to see what these figures are. Gave him the dark green uniform with like some peach colored striping on him, along with like around the wrist and the lower part of the, I don't know, I guess you say his socks, or lower part of his pants there. Light green partially for the straps and everything. Did color his radio in, give that peach colored. Once again, they put the arm, instead of putting it on the armband, they put it on the chest, the logo. And actually didn't make his eyes nearly as green, like that bright, eerie green here that you would see like on the first edition Peter, or even the mysterious variant here. Something about those eyes just kind of screwed with me the way it looked. But I know they had the ability back then. They could have made the eyes look so much different. I mean, these things almost look like the spectral versions of them that was in one of the cartoons, but we'll get to that later. Alright, now, these, I don't know much about these other than the fact that they were from the Screaming Heroes line of Ghostbusters, and once again, we got those really screwed up looking eyes. Mouth wide open like, oh crap. And the only thing I could find that this dude really did was basically almost like wind them up. There's a little piece on the back here, a little yellow piece right there. Go through and flip it, and it does that. I don't know if they had like an proton packs was going on or what, but boy, these are really kind of screwed up looking. I did not remember seeing these as a kid, but while I was going through and looking through toys and stuff, I happened to find this one, and I was like, what in the world? This might explain part of the reason why eventually, the real Ghostbusters toy line died out. I mean, goofy things like this, it just like, what the fuck are they thinking? And now, rounding out my Peter Venkman collection on these real Ghostbusters toys. I know there's more of them, but it is the Fright Features Peter. You take his left arm, push it down, and once again, you have to sit there and you're looking at it going, what in the hell? I mean, there's not even a spot on this thing for him to put the proton pack on. He's got those high waiter boots. You almost think, okay, he's been in the sewers, he's seen something, or something from Ghostbusters 2, you know, where he's down in the train yard, or in the train tracks, the old abandoned railway system, subway system, whatever. Seen something. Ah! Now, he did come with a set of little twin ghosts here. I do actually have these. Actually, I got like multiples of these. They're like different little things, like each other. Third one, I'm not kidding. Now, I got one here that his don't work. The only thing his is the hair goes up. Ooh. I'm not exactly sure what the whole big thing was on these, but you know, I remember seeing them. These I remember seeing them whenever I was a kid. Didn't really see the whole point of it, because you never in the cartoon saw him look at something and go, ah! Never did you see that. Alright, so we're moving on from Peter on to Ray. Now, I honestly thought first this was one of the first editions. However, taking a look at them, realized that the first edition Ray, well, he had the tan jumpsuit, he had the brown harness for the proton pack. So I'm taking a good guess that this right here was the second edition one, plus that it actually had the thing up on the chest instead of on the arm. Gave him the tan jumpsuit, pink straps, radio and everything off the side, beer belly included. That's the only thing I could say on that one. This one, something's gotten a hold of the foot on this one, kind of messed it up. But I mean, they gave him the brown hair, and I don't know what we've seen, but like not very well. It looks like brown eyes. It's just kind of really weird looking. But like I said, I mean, they kept them cartoon accurate with the exception of the eyes, and I know they could have done it. I know the eyes didn't look like this in the cartoon. Like I said, we'll cover that later. Wasn't too thrilled on a lot of these second editions. Alright. Continuing on with Ray. Now we've got the Screaming Heroes Ray. I'm still not figuring out where, if that little dot right there is supposed to be where the proton pack was supposed to hook up or something. But this time, instead of giving him the eye color like his hair, no, they gave him more like black eyes. And looking at this, boy, it really looks screwed up. But this feller here, take the head, wind him up. I don't know how much you can wind him up. And the little trigger this time is on the front, so you push it, and that's all the head does is. You can never get the head to go back the same way. It's like he's having an extra moment, and the thing moves so fast. I don't know if this one is just bad or what, but and if maybe he was supposed to be carrying something along the way, I don't know. Nah. I don't know, maybe by the time these came out, I was just beyond getting these things. Like I said, I do remember seeing them, but I know I sure as hell wouldn't have gotten these. I'll stick with the originals. Alright, winding out the Ray Stance toys I got. We now have the Fright Features Ray, which I have two of. This time you take the right arm, you got hair going up again, and the ears popping out this time. Ah, no! Maybe it's a look into their future. They're all going to bald. This one, I mean, it looks like he's wearing like oven mitts for the fucking gloves. Not sure what's with the little teal shoulder pads up on the top of his uniform, but they gave him the green belt. Once again, no spot really to put a proton pack if one comes with them. I don't think it did. And then gray boots, so I don't know what the whole thing behind this was, but it's there. At least they could have like made the, I don't know what they could have done different with these, but it seemed like a lot of them were about the same on these Fright Features. Now it's time for the brains of the real Ghostbusters line, and we're talking about Egon. And I had to really like look through these because, in all honesty, unlike, with Peter, make sure I'm right about that. No, they were all on the right arm. They had the logo there on the right arm. Some of these have faded out a little bit different than others. He had the grayish blue uniform with the darker blue straps for the proton pack and all that. Did a pretty good job on making him look very cartoon like what was in the cartoon. The skinniest of all of them, to be honest. I mean, I thought Pete was skinny until I got to looking closer and noticed that, man, Egon's actually thinner than Pete as far as these toys go. I mean, they include, his red glasses that was never really on his eyes. They just painted them blue. I got the glasses down here. It'd be like me on a normal day whenever I need them. Wear my glasses like this all the time. What would be the point? So they're talking and got this thing up like that. Of course, maybe that's why he always sounded kind of funny, because he had them like that and it was like partially blocking his nose. I don't know. But still, it's pretty cool. They included Egon. And this is the only one of the Egons that I've got that I'm going to be reviewing, just because of the fact that finding any of the rest of them was a little hard to find anywhere. Alright, so we've covered the 3 originals. Now for the 4th original, who, as we all know in the movies, came about halfway through the movie, if I'm remembering correctly. But we're talking about Winston, and I've got the 2nd edition Winston, I'm pretty sure, from what I was seeing. They gave him the dark blue uniform with some reddish striping, along with the red for the straps for his proton pack and all that, along with yellow for the belt and the collar. You'll see the yellow once again, on the wrists and on the pants. The only issue I had with this was, alright, you look at Ray, head straight up. Pete, head straight up, but looks like his jaw struts out. Egon head straight up. And I noticed this with all the Winston ones that I've got. But it's like he was slouched over a little bit and head jutted out. Like, you know, guys, I'm here too. This is one of the characters that in the video games he was never included in on. And if you want more about the video games, feel free to go over and check out Cinemassacre. Guy by the name of the Angry Video Game Nerd. He's got reviews on him reviewing the first and second Ghostbusters game. You won't find Winston anywhere in them. Even though he's in the movies, he's in the cartoon. Game developers were apparently had a problem with an African American feller being in the game. You know, he made great for the movies and the cartoon and toys, but not the game. Alright, so next one on the Winston list is the Slimed Heroes Winston. Which, I mean, I had to keep looking to make sure, and I'm almost wondering if, well, I had Slimed Heroes Peter. I don't know. But, I mean, you almost swear that maybe that Peter variant I showed earlier, the mysterious one, was supposed to be a Slimed Heroes one. I don't know. But anyways, you know, they gave him a light greenish blue jumpsuit with a darker greenish blue on for the straps and the elbow pads, all that, radio included. Once again, I don't want to keep doing that. Seems like, I don't know, don't seem like it's nearly as bad with this one. Yeah, it is. Well, not nearly as bad as far as his jaw strutting out and him sticking his... He don't look so slumped over in this version. So, that is pretty cool. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'd set this one up with the regulars. Be just fine with it. Alright, continuing on the Winston line. We get to the Fright Features Winston. One, he just about looks like he's wearing oven mitts, much like Ray was on the Fright Features one. This one, you take the right hand, right arm, squeeze down, and the head's going to go sideways. This one, it's a little harder to get him to go back. But it's like his head twists and jaw opens. You have to kind of help him out a little bit to get him to... After a while, they started sticking a little bit, so you kind of had to help him a little bit. Like, oh wow, got him. Not one of their best design ideas, without a doubt. At least, you know, unlike the Fright Features Peter, you know, don't like, you know, he's wearing waders and all that. Gave him kind of the khaki-colored jumpsuit with yellow shoulder pads, yellow belt, boots, and knee pads, and then purple gloves. What the hell was they thinking? What was Columbia Pictures thinking whenever they allowed this to happen? And for the color scheme for these things, what? Why? Now, comes, you had your fright features. Now let's go with the super fright features line. And I've got Winston on this one. This one, they were all in space apparently. So like this one had a little trigger on the back that you push down. You push it down, his head sinks. Chest comes up, there's his head, tongue rolling around. What the? And this bright green and red uniform with blue shoulder pads, gloves. Apparently in space they didn't need a proton pack. But, they could still include him. It looks like they gave him like a little bit more hair. And there's something on the side of him. I never could figure this out. Maybe it's the radio piece there. And I know this can't be seen very well due to the dim light. But, so the fright features wasn't enough to go through and get us to say, nope. They gave us the super fright features. Okay. It's starting to really wonder how this line lasted as long as it did when it was kept giving us stuff like this. Alright, now, one character we all wanted, and we finally got, but it took a little bit, was Janine. We did get her. Now, what's funny is, we got Janine, and then, like another line, we'd get Lewis, even though Lewis wasn't really involved with Ghostbusters as far as being a member until like after the second movie, which they did incorporate into the cartoon, but we'll get more of that here shortly. But we got the fright features. Janine go through, raise the arms up, and her eyes would pop out, jaw would drop, and her hair would go up. Now this one has seen better days, so getting her hair to go back down after you... What the... Now it works. I couldn't get to do it earlier. I'd do like that and the hair would still be up like that. Like, oh no, it's a ghost. Ah! Ah! That's pretty cool. I mean, they gave her, the gray boots, elevated in the back, pink suit. The hair that we're used to seeing on Janine in the cartoons. And those super cool glasses. Last but not least, on all the figures, the characters, this one we get, and this one makes me think that, a lot of these were produced after the movies, because then we got Lewis with the big old glasses. This is actually the Slimed Heroes Lewis. And after doing a little bit more research, come to find out you spray water or something on them, uniform will change color a little bit. Now, after all these years, they don't do that anymore. But Lewis got the yellow jumpsuit, brown harness and all that. And apparently the Slimed Heroes did in fact come, they did come with the proton pack, so hey, at least he got to carry one on here, and I know it was seen a couple times in the cartoons. But it was definitely a nice thing that they went through, and they added Lewis to the mix, because let's face it, it just didn't seem right if he wasn't there. Alright, now, probably one thing that, when I was a kid, I had the figures. I didn't have, and I had several of the Ghosts, but I didn't have the Ecto-1 or any of the other Ectos, and I think in the toy line, they went as far as like Ecto 8 or some crap like that, and it's like they all changed as far as how they looked. Of course, I also didn't have the Firehouse either. But for the sake of this review, I've got one of the two things we're going to show or talk about, or one of the two things there I said I didn't have, and it was Ecto 1. Now, this Ecto 1, it is missing a piece off the top. It's actually missing a door over on the driver's side. Back gate wants to flop open a little bit too much here. Had the little thing that shot out of the back door, the ghost grabber. Some of the stickers have come off over time. This is going to be like one of my rehab projects. I'm going to go through and find the piece that goes up on top. Find me a door. Find some new stickers, stuff like that. But it still is a cool throwback. They gave us an Ecto 1 that was very cartoon accurate, without a doubt. It'd be nice if they gave us something where we could have had like the lights up on top. Would have been really cool. But for the ghost grabber on the back, you flip it down, grab it out, ejects out. You can sit there and grab said object. Now, the thing I didn't know until after looking at this is you have to go through and flip the tailpipe back here, flip it over, and it goes through, and it activates the wheels to where you can pull the ghost grabber back in. Of course, most of us be wheeling it. And then, so as long as the tailpipe's turning sideways, that ghost grabber won't come back out. Shut it, flip them back. You snag the ghost. Like I said, right here. Flip it over, engages to where you can retract it back. Flip it out, it will go through. And you take a look here on the back side, you can see the gearing and all that. So I show it just right. So you move it, and you see it lock right into place. So really, that was pretty awesome for the Ecto 1. Nice little feature. Not only did they keep it pretty much, cartoon accurate, but almost very close to being movie accurate as far as how it looks. Awesome, without a doubt, to get the Ecto 1. Like I said, this is going to be a refurbished project, so maybe in a later video I'll show what it looks like once I get it all done. Oh yeah, somebody's a little rough to this one. Cracked the piece right there. Got to glue it back so it'll be normal again, but still, Ecto 1, it's, let's face it, you cannot talk about the Ghostbusters in any sense without having Ecto 1. Alright, so, there was all kinds of other toys that went with them. Like I said, the Ghost, you had the Firehouse. Then you get stuff where you could pretty much go through as a kid and go through and pretend like you were actually one of the Ghostbusters. They had the PKE meter, they had the ghost traps, and the proton pack. I've actually got the proton pack, however, it is like buried up in my attic somewhere. Half the stickers are gone on it. Works a little bit still. You can still pull the trigger and it still zzz, makes the sounds and all that. Not too bad. It is fairly fun piece, without a doubt. To have, go through and pretend like we're, the family pet was the ghost that you're going after, scared of the living shit out of cats. But, hey, we're only young once, and what more else fun can we have other than tormenting the family pets? Okay, so shortly before the real Ghostbusters come out. And or right about the same time, or yeah, it was after the movie, Filmation decided they were going to get involved with the Ghostbusters and gave us this cartoon called the Ghostbusters. Oh, I have no words for this one because you had a psychedelic car, a couple guys, a girl, and a gorilla. Chasing ghosts in the most campy, outlandish ways. I just remember seeing this as a kid and going, no, this is not the Ghostbusters. No way was it tied in with the movie or the cartoons at all. It didn't last long. Filmation learned to stay out of it. Thank God. Alright, so we've went through and we've looked at the toys. Now let's talk a little bit about the cartoons. Okay, so the real Ghostbusters come out not too long, or a couple years after the movie did. Ran for a little bit. They quit doing it for maybe a year. And then after Ghostbusters 2 come out, they would resume it, still being the real Ghostbusters. After a little bit, then that's when it became Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters. We started to see a lot more of Lewis and Janine getting involved. During the original run, we did see Janine getting involved. Never saw anything of Dana in any of it, or Lewis during the first run. But it was a lot of fun to have. It helped us in a way, almost kind of like show what was supposed to be going on between when the original movie came out in 84 till the next one came out in 89, even though they never covered, them getting sued by the city or anything like that, them losing and not being able to work anymore. If I'm remembering correctly, they did bring Walter Peck into the cartoon. And then, to be honest, it kind of went kind of campy once it became Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters, and you had this short, dumpy looking scientist that to me kind of looked like Dr. Robotnik from Sonic, chasing after Slimer with different gadgets and crap. Never really could make much sense of that one at all. But overall, pretty decent cartoon. I still watch this today. Kids still enjoy it. And you can get them all on DVD. Alright, so flash forward to 2002, 2004 range, somewhere in there. Courtesy of Disney, or on the Disney XD channel, we got I ain't gonna say a reboot, but a fresher version of the Ghostbusters. Is called the Extreme Ghostbusters. It tied in with the previous cartoon by bringing in Egon and Janine in to start with. It's basically about some 4 kids, college kids, who end up taking one of Egon's classes there at the university. Egon this whole time has apparently still been doing things with the paranormal and still lives at the firehouse, which don't make any sense since it was Ray that went through and forked over the money to get this. Shouldn't Ray have been living there? But anyways, he's still there. I guess Janine's involved with him. And they basically as older versions of the Ghostbusters. They go through and they newer packs newer proton packs, ghost traps, stuff like that. Um, and it was a great continuation on. And to be honest, it's one of those things that I think's going to be something like what they're going to try, possibly if it actually happens with a third movie, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, it's a great cartoon to pick up on. I think it's like 39, 40 episodes. If you can find it, great. YouTube, you used to be able to find them on YouTube. You can find them in various other places. So, you know, you gotta check it out for sure. Alright, so kicking off the whole phenom behind the whole Ghostbusters thing, all the cartoons, toys, and all that was the iconic movie with Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Winston Zeddemore, and it was the original Ghostbusters. There wasn't anything that you could say bad about that movie. Little science fiction-y, a little bit horror, a little bit comedy, a little bit of action, yeah, a little bit of everything, and it worked very well with those actors. It worked very well with how they did it. Great movie, without a doubt. Because just everything went just right with the script, the actors who portrayed the characters in it. What more can you say bad? I mean, you can't really say anything bad about that movie. You had to enjoy it. Plus that, and what's not to love about it at the end, one of the main boss in the thing turns into a 80-foot tall marshmallow man. You know, you can't beat that. It really ain't campy. It's a good, wholesome, fun movie to watch, wasn't it? It don't matter if you're 10 these days, or 5, or you're 80. You love and enjoy that movie. It's one you can sit back, you see it on, you kick back, watch it, and enjoy it. So, you know, and Walter Peck being one of the main antagonists, you know, for a character was just great. I mean, the guy they got to play him, I mean, he played an antagonist and the dickhead in a lot of movies in the 80s, around that time frame, so it was great. He had everything he needed. Now to Ghostbusters 2, that would come out 5 years later, in 1989. Involved a painting of a guy who apparently was hung, stretched, quartered. I forget what all they said happened to him, but anyways, he's in his painting, and was somehow controlling all the ectoplasmic goo that was supposedly underneath the city. Had his focus on Dana Barrett's young baby that she has now. And that's the whole plot of the movie is, you know, the bad guy going through trying to get possession of the baby, using multiple ways, including this dorky little sidekick art director to help him get the baby. Ghostbusters this whole time they've disbanded. Ray and Winston are, I'm not sure exactly what Winston's supposed to be doing other than he's helping Ray with doing birthday party stuff like that. Ray also owns a bookshop called Ray's Occult. Egon is working at the university doing odd experiments, and Peter is a cheesy talk show host. Anyways, because of Dana's baby's stroller getting like possessed and taking off, you know, the boys get back together. They find the river of slime. They get back together. Fight Ghost in a courthouse. Show them all getting back together and dealing with this ooze thing. The ooze even tries to come out and eat Dana and her baby. The little sub-antagonist, Janos, and I forget the dude's name that played him, actually ends up getting the baby. They go back to the art museum where this painting's at, because the painting keeps coming to life in a way and saying, hey, I want this kid. So, of course, once again, the boys get arrested, get released. At this point, the art museum has been covered by a giant dome of slime with Dana and the baby Janos and the evil painting there. The evil painting trying to transfer the soul of the dead guy over into the baby. Ghostbusters go through and they've gotten some that slime and they've turned it into good slime, mood slime, I think is what they called it. Slime the inside of the Statue of Liberty. Go walking through. Get everybody to start singing. They crack the thing. They go in. They defeat the bad guy eventually. For a young kid, it's great. Fans of the movie, you know, the Ghostbusters movie, the first one, you see the second one, and it made you kind of realize why Bill Murray actually didn't want to do a third one. Because it was campy. I know kids love it. My son wear out copies of that damn movie of Ghostbusters 2. And just sit on auto repeat and go and go and go. It was, man, it's good family fun, but it's on the campy side. And it sucks. I mean, that was the movie that pretty much made Bill Murray say, I'm not going to do a third one. And it's a shame because, well, I'll get to that here shortly. Okay, now comes the one movie I'm gonna hate talking about, and I know I'm gonna catch all kinds of hell about this one. But in 2016, Paul Feig, whatever, whose director is mainly known for directing what I like to call chick flicks, say he's gonna direct the new Ghostbusters reboot. All-female staff. Now, when I say this, I honestly did not have a problem with the actresses that they chose for this movie. I think, honestly, they did about the best job possible with what they were given. To be honest, a lot of the CGI looked like something out of Scooby-Doo movies, but the script alone was horrible. And then you got Chris Hemsworth running around like a damn idiot, getting possessed. He actually ends up being the bad guy in the whole thing after he gets possessed. But the whole damn movie is just so fucking stupid. I mean, it's like, okay, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Let's tie it in with Ghostbusters as far as CGI and shit went. Like I said, I ain't got no problem with the actresses that were in the movie. They did great with what they were given. It just, the director and the writers, I don't think they knew what the hell they were doing. Yeah, you had cameos by the original Ghostbusters, with the exception of Harold Ramis, who had already passed away at this point, thus eliminating a possible Ghostbusters 3 with the originals. But in a way, he did have a cameo in the early beginnings of the movie in the form of there was a bust of him there at the university. But I cannot say enough about that movie. I cannot say anything good about it because, I mean, overall, it sucked. I said the ladies in it, they did the best job possible with what they were given. Probably the one actress I would have replaced in it with somebody else would have had to have been Melissa McCarthy's character. She's one of those ones that I think if you've seen her in one movie, you've seen the same character in all the rest of them. Like I said, I didn't have any problems with Leslie Jones or the other two. I really didn't. And I don't fault the women for, they did the best they could with what they were given. This right here, that abomination of a movie falls directly on the director and the writer, or the writers, on such a crappy movie. And it's a shame because I think, if they could get a different director, better script, those girls could, those ladies definitely could have pulled off one hell of a movie, but not with what that director had in motion for it. They could have done better with the CGI. I've seen B movies with better CGI. And then the inclusion of Chris Hemsworth basically playing the Janine character for the Ghostbusters, and then him getting possessed. I mean, if he wasn't stupid and dumb acting enough in that movie, they just made it like 10 times worse after the whole possession thing. But that's it. That's all I'm going to say about that one. That's all I can say. Or all I want to say without going on a 45-minute speech. Alright, so everything else being said, earlier this year we got a little teaser trailer from Jason Reitman, the son of the original director of the original 2 movies, where somebody's working on proton packs in this barn. Looks like it's out in the country. You don't see anything, you hear the sounds, you see the lights flashing inside this barn. They go inside the barn a little bit. You see something covered up by a tarp. It starts to blow up. The tarp starts to blow upward on it, and you see the original Ecto-1. So they say they're going to take a shot at doing Ghostbusters 3. Sony and Dan Aykroyd's on board with this. And from what I understand, so is Winston Zeddemore. No word about if Bill Murray is, but apparently they're going to try to do something kind of like what the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon did, and go with a younger group becoming the new Ghostbusters. so they can go through and continue on. Like, apparently Dan Aykroyd and Sony's got this big thing envisioned, and they call this company like the Ghost Corps, and they're planning on like some more cartoons, a movie universe, much like Marvel. Movie's supposed to tie in with the original two, not with the 2016 reboot. Honestly, they could have done something there to have gotten that to tie in, because it seemed like the 2016 reboot tried to say they had something to do with the original two movies. Very, very little there, but there was a little figments here and there of it. Hopefully they can get it off the ground, get it rolling, get something decent out of it. And I know I've already seen where like Leslie Jones from the 2016 movie, she was like bashing everything about it. And much like the all-female cast of the 2016 Ghostbusters, I didn't bash it or anything, with the exception of, oh dear God, Paul Feig, whatever the fuck his name is directing it. Like I said, the girls, or the ladies, they did a great job with what they were given, but the director, writer, and the production crew just really fucked that one up. But really hope they can get something good out of this new Ghostbusters movie coming out supposedly next year, 2020. I hope they do. I hope they do with kind of follow the Extreme Ghostbusters way and go with a younger crew. I mean, let's face it, we can't have Harold Ramis in it now. Bill Murray, no one's heard from him. Supposedly, Aykroyd's up on it. Ernie Hudson's up on it. Which, if anybody's ever had a chance to meet any of the guys from the original Ghostbusters movie, I've heard stories about Bill Murray. Never heard much about Harold Ramis. Dan Aykroyd, we've seen all kinds of great things out of him. But a few years back, I did have a chance to sit down and talk with Ernie Hudson. It was pretty cool. Got him to actually sign my Blu-ray copies of Ghostbusters 1 and 2 and get to talk to him for a little bit. It was like before, I think it's while they were starting to make the 2016 Ghostbusters. Which at the time, he didn't really have a whole lot good to say about it. And his feelings were pretty much the same as mine. Which tells me that while he did have a small cameo in it, much like the others did, he knew what was coming. He had great things to say about the cast that they chose, just not with the script on it. So, like I said, hopefully they can do a lot better job with the younger version of the Ghostbusters 3, whatever they're going to call it. Hopefully they can do a fantastic job with that one. Alright, so my final thoughts on this. Alright. Had a great movie. alright sequel. Shitty reboot. Like I said, nothing against the ladies that were in it. They did the best they could with what they were given. I fully blame this one on the damn director and the writer of the script. But we did get some great cartoons out of it, and we got some great toys out of it, and some really crappy, shitty toys out of it. And at some point in time, I'll get the Diamond Select ones, and I'll review those, because those actually, they've got like different versions of the Diamond Select ones, to where they look like the cartoon versions and then the movie versions. So at some point in time, I will get those. That'll be for a review later on down the road. But with that being said, that's my final thoughts about it. You know, like I said, we got some great toys, we got some shitty toys, had some good movies, we had some crappy movies, we had some great cartoons, we had a crappy one. It is what it is. But anyways, that's it for me. So until next time, I'm E-Daddy, your angry toy guy. And remember, keep on collecting, so that way the line, or the lines, never die. Till next time.